Clearly, she should not have reacted the way she did. However, it is a normal human reaction with both the somatic and the autonomic nervous systems to respond when under threat. So she was being attacked and responded.
That was California radio talk show host Ethan Bierman on this show last Friday, defending the New York Times hiring of Sarah Jeong, despite her racist, anti-white, anti-cop tweets. Bierman later uploaded video of that segment to Instagram, right? A lot of people do that. But it was deleted. And an Instagram spokesperson told us, quote, "This post was removed in error, and we are sorry. It has been since reinstated." Ethan Bierman joins us right now. Ethan, why do you think that happened? You were just retweeting something and actually defending the Times writer to a degree.
And not only that, Brian, good to see you tonight, by the way, Tucker and I didn't actually quote Sarah Jeong's tweets. We were having a conversation about it. The only thing I can come up with right now is on social media, we are so divided. People are so angry about things. We're unable to have conversations that somebody, whether it was on the left or the right at this point, was very angry that we were even having the conversation, and people are petty and somebody said, flagged it, and Instagram lacks the systems to actually review what is being posted before they remove it. And so they removed it. I found it really upsetting, actually. I mean, it didn't make any sense when I saw it was removed.
But, you know, you're not the first one, but you are, as someone who's not necessarily a conservative talk show host, for someone to take that down because you were talking about a topic that many conservatives found offensive, and I think Americans found offensive, and that was her prior tweets and statements. What does that tell you about where we're heading?
Well, I think it's problematic that we can't have a conversation, or that people are upset by even having the conversation. Look, there are definitely legitimate concerns when people post hateful things. Some of the messages I get about my Jewish background are absolutely reprehensible and should be taken down and should be flagged and marked and whatnot. If you're going to viciously attack somebody and or call for violence, there is no place for that. And I agree with these platforms preserving their terms of service and protecting those edges. But just to have the conversation about something, Brian, you and I engage in debate regularly. I think it's important. I think it's healthy. And I think that we all grow when we're engaged in healthy debate. Calling names, calling for violence, not necessarily a good thing, and especially calling for violence. I reserve the right of those platforms to remove those posts.
30 seconds left, Ethan. Do you think this is bots? Is this an algorithm? Or do you think this is a human being doing this stuff?
Well, I think overall the platforms have to have algorithms for removing posts, and I think that where we've kind of gone too far with this is they default to removing first, and then only when, like Fox News reached out, did a human bother reviewing to say, yeah, there's nothing wrong with this post, and so yeah, we're counting on algorithms first, and I think they still have a lot of work to do.
It's just amazing. So many times the topics that are conservative are getting targeted, but in this case, you talking about something got targeted. Either we'll stay on top of that. Thanks so much.
Brian, good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Sarah Jeong's overt anti-white racism isn't a concern for the New York Times. She still got her job. Meanwhile, it was Business Insider Daniela Greenbaum who had an article removed simply for defending Scarlett Johansson's casting as a transgender in a role in a movie. She's an actress. Daniela Greenbaum joins us right now. Daniela, you seen some of the double standard here?
Yeah. I think the Times probably did the right thing by defending her. Maybe they shouldn't have hired her in the first place, but if they hired her, I think good on them for standing up. The issue is we're seeing such a double standard in who gets to say what. So this woman says, I was kidding, it was a satire, I was responding to trolls in a troll-like fashion. And the Times and all of liberal Twitter responds, great, no problem. Where is that courtesy when you're a conservative?
It doesn't really happen. And in your case in particular, for people that missed the show and the follow-up, you decide to write that Scarlett Johansson can play this transgender role. Why is there outrage? She is an actress. She is not doing a documentary. So you pointed that out, and your employer's reaction was?
To take the piece down after my colleagues had written a series of letters expressing outrage at what I had said and the way I had said it.
You hired to give your opinion?
Yes.
You gave it?
Yes.
And when they said that you would have to take that down, you said, and they also added something else. They said, oh, there'll be a committee who decides if your column could be posted in the future.
They wanted me to meet with a committee anytime I wrote on something that was culturally sensitive to make sure that I wasn't ruffling too many of the wrong feathers.
And your reaction was?
To resign.
And do you have any regrets about doing that?
It's a little scary not to know where I'm going, but I've been freelancing, and at least I have my integrity.
You do have your integrity, but what does this whole process showed you, from the story we just read to the Candace Owens got stopped over the weekend,
crazy.
right? And for doing nothing but talking about this story, what has this whole process told you about over the last week?
Well, what I think's been fascinating is there was two camps of response to this woman's tweets, right? Some people on the left said she was kidding, let's take that at face value. And other people said it doesn't matter whether she was kidding or not. You can't, if you're anti-white, it's fine because she's Asian American, she's a woman, she's high enough on the totem pole of oppression that we're going to excuse anything she does. And my question is, where's that courtesy for Ayaan Hirsi Ali, right? She gets accused of being Islamophobic. How about the fact that she grew up in Somalia and was oppressed by Muslims? Of course she has
happens
beef
to be
with
black
religion.
and Muslim.
Exactly. So
Right.
We're seeing this crazy double standard of who gets to talk about what, when it's excused, what excuses we make, who we defend, who we criticize, who we call to fire.
Darrell Issa said over the weekend, the retiring California congressman, he goes, maybe it's time we have to come in with regulation, almost like the FCC did with broadcast. Are we getting to that point? I don't even know if that'll work, but that's what they're talking about.
I think we need to have really clear lines, and the only line I can see enforcing here is if you call for violence, okay, remove it. Anything short of that, whether it's offensive, controversial, hateful, we got to let the marketplace of ideas clean up that speech.
You're going to be fine, Danielle. You're too talented not to be. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, straight ahead. First.